Pops, what time is it?
It's Chomp time.
It is Chomp time indeed. I am Mike. That is Pops. This is the Chomp Time Podcast. This is episode 21, Pops.
Woo!
Episode 21, although I am in a cheerful mood today, is called Deflated. I think it is apropos for what we're about to talk about, but we're going to have some fun today. We are going to span a little bit of a wide range of topics. We're going to start with the Florida-Georgia game, go over that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk some fantasy football, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
Gator Hoops starts tonight, so we're going to breach on that.
Number
And
21.
finally, maybe a couple of predictions for something kind of big happening tomorrow.
All right.
Deal.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Let's get right into it. The Florida-Georgia game.
Yeah.
Pops, Georgia won 34-20. It was closer than that. Your thoughts?
I am so proud of this Gator football team. I cannot tell you how proud I am of the way that they played. It was, they gave everything they had.
Yep.
The defense has been playing its heart out for the last 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we lost our leader when DJ went down. But I'll say this. Up until 7 minutes left in the game, we were tied. We had scored a touchdown and tied the game. And then, unfortunately, in 58 seconds, they scored 2 minutes and 58 seconds, they scored 2 touchdowns. And that was it. The interception after Georgia had scored to make it 27-20 was the final dagger. But I will tell you, I am so proud of every Gator that played in that game. They did everything they could possibly do. We were playing a top, whether you want to say it's the top team in the country or the top second, third, fourth, or fifth team in the country.
Yes.
We were playing at a neutral site, which probably helped us. We had half the crowd. I thought our crowd was very loud, did a nice job for us. We held them at bay. The first half, it was unbelievable. We had 3 interceptions in this game. The defense did it all. Offensively, we were doing what we had to do to win the game. Unfortunately, when DJ went down, we all just had a sigh of, oh my God, now what? And it's unfortunate. It ended the way it ended. We were on our third string quarterback who was, kind of a walk-on from Duke.
From Yale, I believe.
I'm sorry, from Yale. Yale. Yeah. It was just heartbreaking to see how hard they played and to have the result that we had. I thought mostly it was a clean game. Penalty-wise, there weren't any stupid penalties. I was happy about that. Penalties are part of the game. That's just part of what we're going to have. But so proud of those Gators and what they almost accomplished.
Yeah, I will piggyback on a bunch of things you said. Very proud of the team. I am proud of Napier and his staff for how they had the team prepared for a huge rivalry game against the number 2 team in the country. Whether they've looked good this season or as dominant this season as they have in the past is irrelevant. They were number 2 in the nation. They fought their hearts out all game long. I named the episode Deflated because when DJ went down after about 20 seconds, when you saw somebody motioning for the cart, the air went out of the stadium. Yeah. The air went out of my lungs. The air went out of most of Gator Nation. I know I'm a very dramatic type of dude. When we were up, when we had Beck rattled, and he was rattled. He's a good quarterback, but he was off. Yeah. And whatever we were doing defensively, we were playing bend, don't break, but we were also dropping off coverages here or there. And Devin Moore made a big interception. A couple other guys.
By the way, you called that on the last podcast.
even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. But yeah, when he went down and then the cart came over, and then when all the players go over, you know he's done.
Yeah.
He's not coming back from that. He's probably done for the year. It
Yeah.
was just, it was deflating because I was as excited. We were talking on the phone a couple times. I was as excited when he was, especially after that bomb. He ended up throwing for, I think that was his only, maybe he had one more pass for 1 yard, but it was like a 47-yard bomb to Mizell,
Yeah.
another young guy. I'm like, we are competing with Georgia. We are we are going to possibly win this game. We've got our quarterback of the future. It just all looked really, really good. And then a non-contact injury, and the jinx continues. And the
I thought
unfortunate happenings continue.
I thought in the game that we actually had a couple of breaks, and I thought, oh my goodness,
Yes.
they're actually starting to turn our way. And I thought,
Yes.
there's an opportunity here. We might even win it. I mean, we're winning at halftime. I'm saying we got a shot. And then,
I was pretty tough on Warner
yeah,
as a third string quarterback anywhere.
yeah,
It's going to be tough to be good,
yeah,
especially against a Georgia defense that on, they're number 20 in the country, but on paper they have as many talented guys on that side of the ball as
yeah,
anybody in the country.
yeah,
Uh, I could see why Billy likes him and why he ascended over guys like Clay Millen and some other guys that were way more highly thought of coming out of high school. He's a smart guy, went to Yale. Both his parents are Florida Gators. That's all fine and good, but
yeah,
it looked like he knew what he was doing pre-snap. He
yeah,
knew who had to move where.
yeah.
He had a pretty good grasp of. He just doesn't have, it's a tough ask for anybody, regardless of how good
He
you are.
he
So
he might have gotten 5% of the snaps during the
yeah,
2 weeks, maybe
maybe,
5%.
maybe.
Yeah,
And as far as DJ running, he's a running quarterback. He came into college as a dual
yeah,
threat, the
yeah,
best dual threat quarterback in the country. Billy's fighting for his job. He's fighting for his
yeah,
life. A win against Georgia. There's Florida
yeah,
Gator fans out there that you go 1-11. If that one win is against Georgia, it was a successful season. Some fans will say that
yeah,
type deal,
yeah.
but it's such a huge game, such a huge rivalry. So you can't really blame Billy for any of that.
We had
I
uh, we
still,
had we had Kirby kind of riled up. He was riled up on the sidelines and
yeah,
slapping helmets and stuff. He was concerned. He really was.
we gave them all they could handle, and
Yeah,
the talent ended up being too much for us, especially after our leader, be it true freshman or not, went
yeah,
down. So,
yeah,
and another side note of that game, the field. Now Georgia had a couple guys get hurt as well, but
yeah.
it seemed like Florida just we were a walking mass shooting. At one
We
point,
we
we
lost
had both our starting cornerbacks out.
3 defensive backs. All went down.
Right.
Uh, it was crazy.
I mean, we came into the game without Jason Marshall, who
Right,
who's been playing great, without
Montreal.
Montrell
Yeah,
Johnson. So we were kind of a depleted team as it was, and we still gave them all they could handle. So very
we did.
proud of them.
Yeah, we didn't have
Moving,
Wilson. We didn't have
yeah,
Wilson, Montreal. We didn't have a lot of guys, like you said, the starting two quarterbacks. I mean, what are you gonna do?
it was a tough ball game. I don't
Yeah.
really have that many stats. You don't need to see that many stats.
No,
We ran
no.
the ball pretty good. I think we had 95 yards in the first half, which
I got it
was
right here. Jackson ran 12 times for 74 yards, and Ball ran 17 yards for 64 yards. So
17
not
times.
bad.
Yeah,
Not
I
bad.
like ball. I like ball a lot. Jackson looked great.
Yeah,
Mizell in that huge catch. I love him. He looks dynamic every time I see him.
yeah,
I would have liked to see us get Hayden Hansen, the tight end, involved more. Boardingham, your guy, involved more. Maybe even tried a couple wildcats after DJ went down. But regardless, we'll go into.
listen, we've been asking. We're 4-4. We've been asking for 8 games.
Yeah,
This is the one criticism complaint I will have. It's still damn vanilla. It's
yeah.
just too damn vanilla. They know what we're gonna do. I mean,
Yes.
the pass that he threw to my was fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy could throw long passes.
Yep.
But we don't throw enough of them. I mean, to me, just throw the ball. I mean, do something different. All right, that's all I'm going to say. I'm
Yeah.
sick.
Well, two final things, and we'll talk a lot more about Florida in the present and future
Yeah,
on Friday's episode.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
final two things I want to say is I was very surprised to see when Warner came in, his first play was a bomb, even though the receiver wasn't ready for it. He didn't throw it to the right side. That was encouraging that he at least, and then at the end of the first half, although we just ran two plays and those two running plays got us in position to actually take timeouts, and then we got a
yeah.
field goal at the end of the half. That was encouraging, but he's still way too vanilla for me. We'll get into it more later on in the week. Pops, let's go into fantasy football.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
We're going to talk a little fantasy football today. I think I've come to the conclusion
Yeah,
we had the ninth pick, me and you. We split a team like we
yeah,
have for the last bunch of years. We had the ninth pick overall.
yeah,
We drafted Garrett Wilson to start, which it's looking better, but we started Garrett Wilson with a touch of a reach at number 9. And
yeah.
then at number 12, we
Well,
took Kyron Williams, which he's put up some pretty good numbers so
yeah,
far this
yes,
year.
yeah,
Not horrible picks, but now that I think about it, hindsight is 2020.
yeah.
In my opinion, fantasy football, if you had picked 8 through 10 this year, you had it set up to win your league in your first two picks. Do you know who our first two picks should have been?
Uh,
And I'm not going to say Justin Jefferson is awesome, but I'm not looking that way. The season was set up the previous year with McCaffrey being traded to San Francisco. A
right.
world-class running back that has been with a shit team for 5 years
Yeah,
finally goes to a incredible team with everything:
yeah,
defense, offensive line, quarterback, wide receivers. What did McCaffrey do last year? He tore it up. That was the game plan. That was the script. That was the blueprint for every fantasy football manager out there. And we didn't see it. A lot of other people didn't see it. So, having said that, who should we have taken with our number 1 pick at number 9? I just set it up for you. You still don't know. I'll tell
no,
you. You'll agree with me. I think we should have taken Saquon Barkley at number
yeah,
9.
yeah,
Okay, and then
yeah,
at number 12 is the guy we had last year. We hated because they used him so bad, and he's on such a bad team. Derrick Henry. So if
yeah,
you would pick 8 through 10,
yeah,
so if you would have 8 and 13, 9 and 12, 10 and
yeah,
11,
yeah.
just about every team with the rankings that the average draft position, the ADP of those two players, you should have been able to get Saquon Barkley and
Yeah.
Derrick Henry.
Other,
The rest of your team,
yeah, yeah. But I'll tell you why this is a different year. Other than McCaffrey, who was hurt before the season started and still isn't back. Okay.
yeah,
And he was still the number 1 pick in the draft, our draft. Okay. Um, everybody goes basically. You look for one running back and one wide receiver. Wide receivers have been going down like left and right all
yeah,
season long, and the
yeah,
running backs have been solid. So you're right. I mean, if you had picked 2 running backs and started the season, you'd be solid right now because the running backs, everybody who changed teams, okay. I mean Jacobs. I mean all of them. They're having terrific
yeah,
years. No matter
yes,
what, Jacobs is doing really good on Green Bay. I mean,
yes.
you look at all these guys.
Mixon,
Mixon's doing terrific on Houston. I
yep.
mean, it's unbelievable how these running backs all of a sudden switch teams and they're like a fire lit under them.
Yeah, in 2024, it went from complete throwing the ball, 3 receiver sets, 4 receiver
Yeah,
sets all day long, every single quarterback throwing 300 yards plus, 3 touchdowns, 2. Quarterbacks are now throwing 200, 220,
yeah,
2 touchdowns. In 1 year that happened. So hindsight's 2020. That's
sure
why
it
we
is.
didn't. Yes, that's why
Yeah.
we didn't do that. But it's been interesting to watch.
So
We are.
all we need tonight is we need for Kelsey to break his leg before he steps on the field, And our receiver from McMillan from Tampa Bay to get like 3 passes, and we're good.
We've been decimated with injuries. We were decimated with a pretty bad draft. I mean,
Yeah.
we drafted Ayuk early, and he wasn't even on our board, but he was there, and he had just signed his contract. We drafted T. Higgins early. He's had 2 good games out of 8.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams has been good, but their team has not been.
Well,
Garrett Wilson is.
our biggest mistake is we both overthought this. We thought, well, look at
Yeah,
this kid is the rookie of the year, one of the rookies of the year at quarterback, and he didn't get more help. He got extra help. I mean, all the receivers this guy has to throw to, and Stroud is having such a horrible year, but he's winning. The team is winning. I don't know how they're winning, but
I think they're, yeah,
his numbers suck. And
awful,
so I said,
awful.
let's go with Mayfield, because even if they don't win, this guy throws up 30 points a game. Okay. So what happens? We get Mayfield, and he's lighting it up for us. 3 games in a row, he's lighting it up for us. And then what happens? His number 1 receiver goes down. His number 2 receiver goes down. Now his number 3 receiver goes down. He's got nobody left.
And we're down. We're 3-5 right now. We are clinging to playoff hopes at 3-5. We're
Yeah.
down by 2 points
Yeah.
tonight. The guy we're going against only has Kelsey left,
Oh,
and we
that's
only
all.
have one receiver left. Now, right now, it's McMillan, the wide receiver McMillan for Tampa Bay, who should be their number 1 given their other 3 injuries, but he's
Yeah.
questionable with the hamstring.
Right.
So then we had T. Higgins go out, so I put him on IR. I filled that spot with another Tampa Bay receiver, Sterling Shepard, who is also questionable with a hamstring. So we're gonna have to pay attention to an hour and a half before the game
Yeah.
and decide on one of those 2 guys.
Yeah.
They'll probably be throwing a lot today, and hopefully the script is, Kansas City goes up 24-0. Kelsey has 3 catches for 40
Well,
yards or something.
and then another one we did. Okay, we looked at, you always look at running backs who the number 1 running back for that team. No matter what the team is, you got one guy who's their number 1 who's going to get some points for you.
Yeah.
So we pick, with Mayfield. We didn't even have Mayfield at the time. Let's pick White, because that's the only running back basically that they got besides the little guy, number 7. And it was like, okay. So he had like 2 games, came out of the box, not too bad, and then he went way out of the park. Nothing. We got nothing from that guy.
He was great last year. His stats, he must have gotten an email saying that we drafted him. Yes. Yes. So it's been very disappointing, but it's fun every day, just kind of every week, seeing what we go through.
How you doing
It's
on
a
your
good.
How you doing on your other league?
I'm going to be 4-5, but
Okay.
that league is all 5-4, 4-5. So everyone is kind of in. Our league. We could really use this win, because if we don't win today, this game we go 3-6. We got to win the next 5 in a row.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a tough ask.
Not
Anyway,
gonna happen. Yeah.
so fantasy football has been fun. I will stand on that hill for saying I wish we had taken Barkley and Henry, and we would probably be close to undefeated. Anyway, so another Gator sports starts tonight, and there is kind of a sad story with it. Gator hoops. Men's Gator hoops starts tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe the game is in Jacksonville.
South
the Gators
Florida.
play what's that?
South Florida.
They play South Florida, but I think the game is in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I think it's a neutral site, but we play the South Florida Bulls. My sister's alma mater, my brother-in-law's alma mater. I don't know if we'll text back and forth or not. The Gators are favored by 10 in that game. We are ranked. Florida's ranked, I believe, number 21 to start the
21.
year. I do like Todd Golden a lot. He has really found a way through the portal to build his teams. I think this is his 3rd year maybe, but he's got a couple of really good guys coming back. One of the stories will be every single game you watch will be Oliver Rue. I believe his name
Seven
is.
7 foot 9 inches tall.
7'9" true freshman. He's a project. I mean, anybody that big would be a project just to run up and down. But I hope that he doesn't turn into a carnival, a sideshow, because he seems like I've heard him talk a couple times. I've seen some interviews. He seems like just a good kid, and he just happens to be 7'9", just a gargantuan human being, and he
I
just wants to be like everyone else.
Yeah, I think the deal with him is he went to IMG in Florida. You know, it's a
Mhm,
premier place where all the athletes go to get
mhm.
drafted. You know, and all this college and all this stuff. Um, Good kid, like you said. Everything I've read
Yeah,
about him. Uh, it's not that the kid's skinny. I mean, he's got like 280 pounds on him, but he's 7'9". I think the one thing that you said mentioned was one of the problems. He has trouble at a long period of time going up and down the
pitch.
court. So what they really need is, and Todd talked about this, is this year is going to be more conditioning. The entire year for him is conditioning for this kid. So he understands that what his level, what he can do and what he can't do.
Yeah,
Um, I don't. This kid is not going to be playing. I mean, it's just they got to get this kid ready to
I
play
think
the next year.
I think he'll play a little bit.
He might. He
Good
might.
good for him that he has taken it upon himself to. He's going to have a very challenged life for the rest of his life,
Yeah.
just from his size. But at the very least, he's going to get a free education. He's going to get a
Yeah.
lot of attention, although the attention is probably going to be probably unwanted at times, more stares than. But let's rally around him. I, I'm going to root for him
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. I It should be fun to watch him play and all that. Now, the side sad note about USF is they have their head coach
Yeah.
that was entering his second year, 43 years old. This was not even 2 weeks ago, passed away
Yeah.
after a medical procedure. And I don't it's none of our business really. I've always
Correct.
said it's nobody's business. Just because you're a basketball coach of a Division I team doesn't mean that it's our business what your health is, or
Yes.
any athlete or any coach or anything like that. But our condolences go out to him and his family and the team. I don't know how the team's going to be playing with a heavy heart. Some teams play really good like that. Some teams play really. I don't. I'm going to root for the Gators, but it is kind of a sad note going into the game.
Yeah, it
So
is.
just wanted to mention that this is a guy. His name is Amir Abdur Rahim, that passed away just a couple weeks ago. Apparently, a great guy and an outstanding coach, because in his first year, he led them to a 25-8 record. Pops. The
Yeah.
previous four at USF were all under 500,
Yeah.
including 14-18 the year before he got there, and then he comes in at 25-8. His team loves him. The fans love him. So
Yeah.
it's a heartbreaking story. Um, so we'll see how that
Right. Right.
plays out tonight. But it is good to see Gator Hoops back in action. Final thing we should talk about is kind of a somewhat large event, large happening tomorrow. Now, there are some people out there that have already participated. Unlike true Americans go out on election day.
Well,
I, I don't
enjoy
want to
that
hear
two
about
hour wait in line.
I don't want to hear about absentee ballots. I was out of town. F you. Okay? The election comes once every 4 years. Do not plan a vacation during the election. Yeah, I'm judging all of you that are on vacation right now. Every single one of you. Even though your vote counts exactly the same as mine,
Yes.
and I'm going to be voting tomorrow. Pops, shoot.
Enjoy that 2 hour wait in line. Okay. I had 15 minutes.
There's a there's a church literally 2 minute drive from where I live.
Yeah.
And I made sure I was registered, which I am. And then I got a letter in the mail telling me all the places I could go to vote
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my county,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, this church is one of them. And the church opens at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
There is no chance there's going to be a 2 hour wait at 6 a.m. in the morning. It just so happens that Sadie Mae and Hobbs wake me up at roughly 5:55 every morning
Well, that works.
to get food. So I'll feed them and I will go and vote.
Like it.
It's
Like it.
nobody's business who I'm voting for. But who do you think? Do you have any predictions? What are your
I'm
overall
not.
thoughts?
I'm not going to make any predictions. I know who I think's going to win.
Sure.
But here's the deal. No matter who you vote for, this country is still a democracy. So we live with the results, whether we like the results or not. If your person won or didn't win, you live with the results. We don't need to have anything trashed in this country, okay, because your person didn't win. We don't need to have things lit on fire because
No.
your person didn't win.
Either way.
It's your right to protest peacefully.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's your right as in a democracy. But you also have a democracy where you get to vote, and the majority of people, and then in this case, the Electoral College decides who becomes the next president.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's a it's a very volatile time right now in our country.
Mm-hmm.
We are all over the board. I mean, listen, the Los Angeles Dodgers just won the World Series, and they're lighting buses and tagging buses and throwing cars on fire. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We need, if nothing else in this country, we need law and order.
Yes.
Law and order is gone for some reason. We need it back. There's got to be consequences and not 6 months probation. Okay, there needs to be consequences for taking everything into your own hands. And the bottom line is we need to stay calm. That's all I'm going to say is we need to stay calm.
Agreed. Well said. I think no matter who wins, there's going to be threats of violence everywhere. There's going to be threats of upheaval everywhere. We have to find a way to stay together. I could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about law and order.
Yeah.
If you don't have law and order in a country, nothing else matters. And
Nothing
I'm not
matters.
saying that one side or the other is for it or against it.
Yeah.
I personally think that defunding the police was one of the worst ideas humankind has ever come up with. But without it, nothing else matters. I almost feel like it's shocking to me that that's not number one or number two on everyone's list. Law and order. If you're not safe, what does it matter?
Right.
But I am off tomorrow. I'm going to kind of take it all in. It will be good watching. I think it's going to be very entertaining in a weird sort of way. I don't think the country hangs in a balance. I think both the right and the left say that if the right will say if the left if Kamala wins, it's the end of the country as we know it, and the left says if Trump wins, it's the end of democracy as we know it. I doubt it. The whole reason we have Congress, although I think it needs to be reworked in a major way, is for checks and balances.
Yeah.
And usually when there's a president, the other party is in control of either the House and or the Senate. So there's checks and balances there.
Right.
I don't think the country's going to go crazy one way or the other, but
Well, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to check in every hour, maybe for a minute or two. I'm not going to, I've been, I've told you this many times. I can't even watch TV the last few months because of the stupid commercials that
right.
both put on. I'm sick of all this stuff. I'm sick of it all. I cannot listen to, no matter what station you listen to, I don't want to hear anybody's commentary. Just tell me what the results are at this point, and then I'll go and leave and do
Yep.
something else. I'm
Yep.
just not going to sit and listen to these people. You know, we've been listening to them for the last 2 years about
Right.
predictions. Listen, the vote's coming in. Here's what it is.
Yep. The final thing I'll say, and we'll head on out of this episode, is like you, I am over it. I am over all. I have tried to avoid it.
Yeah.
You cannot avoid all the political talk everywhere you go.
Right.
I am 100% over it. I hope that whoever wins, it is certified and done within a couple days. I do
Yeah.
not want this lasting till January somehow.
Yeah.
And let's all just deal with whatever happens and
Yeah.
try and get together. But
Somehow.
anyway, this was the Chomp Time Podcast. This was episode 21, Pops, which I called Deflated because of the DJ Lagway injury, but there are greater days ahead. There are brighter days ahead for Florida football.
Hey,
Florida
hey,
basketball starts tonight.
can
We
I ask,
have a shot at fantasy football, so we're still alive there.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do we play anybody that's any good next week?
We'll talk on Friday, Pops. We'll be talking more about the future, I think, than the present on Friday. But anyway, I am Mike. That is Pops. This was a Chomp Time Podcast. Like I said, episode 21 was Deflated. Brighter days are ahead. Come on, Gators!
Get up and go. Go Gators.
Take care, everybody.